medical tests. If it can't be done there, they will facilitate it through their international partners. Their main office in Roseau is open from 7:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Mondays to Fridays and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Home visits and emergency services are also available. Call 448-0100, WhatsApp 276-5213 or visit any of their locations. Cross Street, Roseau, Pickard, Portsmouth, Marigot or Grand Bay. Lafayette House Medical Laboratory. My choice, your choice, our choice.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headline.
In the headlines, Minister for National Security says Met services in Dominica have risen to new levels with a $3 million building at Jimit. In news from the region, Venezuela's president requests special support from Pope Leo to consolidate peace in Venezuela. And internationally, Georgia blocks U.S. President Donald Trump from sending troops from California to Portland. Good evening, I am Leila Langford. Details of the news when we return.
Yo, what's up? Baby, let's go!
Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digital TV Channel 50 and Flow TV Channel 951.
DBS News.
Welcome back and welcome to the listeners of Acoustic Worship Radio. Minister for National Security, Reuben Blackmore, says Met services in Dominica have risen to new levels with a $3 million building at Jimit. Mr. Blackmore says the investments made to Met services, particularly in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria, have paid off.
8 years ago, we had no Met head office. For matter of fact, in most of the other countries, we don't have a headquarters of that magnitude. They operate from little offices, operate from airports, etc., etc. Now, if we are going to become the first climate resilient country, it means that we must have what it takes. We must have the prerequisite to assist us in getting there. But we must be able to have Met services with the relevant resources in terms of personnel and equipment, so that one, we can better forecast and we can better issue warnings and watches. And all these things are important because we have gotten to a state in this country where we no longer have to rely on outside interests to issue watches, warning. And I think that in itself signals a significant advancement that we have made in this country insofar as our Met services are actually concerned. So we have trained personnel there for you, trained as forecasters, and then we have the infrastructure. They have the tools to work with, they have the equipment. And we have done well in the circumstances. And 8 years after Hurricane Maria, no one would have thought that Dominica would have been maybe the first country in the OECS to have a building specifically built for the housing of the Met services. Over $3 million, and we're not talking about the equipment that we have.
Minister for National Security, Reuben Blackmore. Mr. Blackmore led a walkthrough of the Met building this morning. Ambassador to CARICOM and OECS, Dr. Gerald Shashak, says Dominican entrepreneurs can now expand their businesses to 3 other member states that have signed on to the free movement of nationals. Dr. Shashak says the process has become easier, allowing entrepreneurs to take advantage of the incentives offered by the island when transferring the business. His comments came during a special program on DBS Radio this morning.
Moving to environment with your intention to set up shop, you will also benefit from the concessions, the policies that the receiving state has for local businesses. If it means tax break, you too will benefit. So businessman in Dominica and a woman who wishes to open a branch in Bridgetown Just simply you inform yourself what concessions, you pay a visit, and you said you set up shop. We hope you'll maintain Dominica as your base. Well, yes, because Dominica, in HR, we have a lot of raw materials that many of our businesses here, that's what they use. I mean, manufacturing Dominica is largely agro-based. So why would you leave the Garden of Eden, quote unquote? No, I say, you expand your base in Dominica so you can get more, bring in more raw materials to process. But why not open an outlet in Belmopan, in Belize, or in Bridgetown as well, providing more earnings for you and your family, while at home you continue to support the local agricultural sector. So I am not a business person, but I smile every time because I'm thinking, geez, just so easy right now for a tradesperson or a business person to move around.
Ambassador to CARICOM and OECS, Dr. Gerald Jejak. Dr. Jejak says many individuals have raised concerns about the process of opening bank accounts within countries of the OECS and CARICOM. He says the conversation have begun to address this issue for countries a part of the free movement.
I've heard that some persons indicate that there can be challenges to set up a bank account. And I mention it because it is a conversation that has started within CARICOM, within the OECS. Mr. Gregoire, probably aware of that as well. Opening a bank account, less onerous, less burdensome, because it requires so much. You coming into a state, they would want to know where you get your money. And that was made clear, how you made your money. This would require you, therefore, to get some documents from back home. And that in itself is maybe, if I would say, one area in which we really have to continue working on. So that is, so far, it is still, the work continues, but it is still not yet where we would like it to be. So I mention that just to indicate that we are aware of this little headache.
Ambassador to CARICOM and OECS, Dr. Gerald Jejak. President of the Dominica Association of Teachers, Mervyn Alexander, says too many teachers are undervalued and overburdened. His comments came during the World Teachers' Day rally at the Cathedral on Friday, held under the theme, "The Transformation of Education Begins with Teachers." Mr. Alexander says the teacher is the pillar on which education reform will thrive.
He or she is a mentor, a guide, a role model, and very often a second parent, and lots more. Teachers do more than impact knowledge. They nurture creativity and critical thinking. They teach students how to question, how to learn, and how to grow. They instill resilience, empathy, and collaboration, skills which are indispensable in this 21st century. And yet, despite the critical role, teachers are too often undervalued, under-resourced, and overburdened. How can we expect transformation in education when those responsible for delivering it are not given the tools, respect, and support that they need? If the transformation of education begins with teachers, then our first step must be to invest in them. And this investment goes beyond financial compensation, though that remains very important. It includes professional development.
President of the Dominica Association of Teachers, Mervyn Alexander. Meantime, Minister for Education Octavia Alfred says the government values the contribution of Dominican teachers.
Teachers across the world are being asked to do more than ever before, adapting to new technologies, meeting diverse learning needs, addressing social issues, and often doing so with limited resources. Despite these challenges, you continue to show resilience, creativity, and a deep sense of duty. You stand as role models of commitment and sacrifice. For that, we owe you not only our gratitude, but also our unwavering support. We are living in an age of rapid digital transformation. Technology is reshaping the way we teach, learn, and communicate. But while computers can deliver information, only teachers can inspire understanding. While artificial intelligence can process data, only teachers can instill values, empathy, and resilience. The transformation we seek in education begins not in machines, but in the human touch of the classroom, your voice, your example, your guidance. As a ministry, we remain committed to strengthening the teaching process and to support you, our teachers, in this noble task. Our vision for education reform is not complete without investment in teacher training, professional development, and fair recognition.
Minister for Education Octavia Alfred. Chief Executive Officer of Discover Dominica Authority, Marva Williams, believes that a memorandum of understanding signed with tourism officials in Barbados last week will move Dominica's tourism to new levels. The memorandum of understanding will see the two countries cooperate in several areas.
The government of Dominica and the Barbados, through its destination marketing arm, the Discover Dominica Authority and the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., respectively, have entered into a memorandum of understanding to cement a step towards strengthening the appeal of both countries, to promote sustainable tourism, and to develop new vacation experiences for travelers. The MOU will establish a joint framework for cooperation, heavily focus on marketing, share of knowledge, exchange of ideas, and enhancing visitors' experience across both the destinations. This collaboration is especially timely as the Caribbean continues to attract travelers from Europe, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Latin America who are seeking diverse and enriching unique experiences. Moving forward, a joint working group will oversee the implementation of the MOU. The intention is to monitor the development of a detailed action plan to ensure that the partnership achieves its objectives, to provide biannual progress, to optimize where needed, and to ensure that the economic value is seen for both countries. This MOU is also timely with the launch of the Reimagine tourism project from the Caribbean Tourism Organization, and Dominica and Barbados will be shining examples of what it is to stand as a unified front to speak and to take into action that one sea, one voice, one Caribbean initiative.
Chief Executive Officer of Discover Dominica Authority, Marva Williams. One of Dominica's best Creole vocalists, Elisha Benoit, is proud to return to the World Creole Music Festival. Benoit, based in France, who has produced several hits, told a special World Creole Music Festival program on DBS this afternoon that patrons can look forward to a wide range of songs at the festival.
About in October, when you come to choosing, I don't really know what that means. I like them all. Difficult for me to pinpoint. I give them every track that we did, that I collaborate, I give it the same energy. And you can hear since to the last one with WCK there's no favorite.
No favorite, really? You're just going to be putting on the hits, whatever mood you
Yeah, not only the hits, some tracks that we never promoted neither. I have the privilege, and I can say it loud now. I'm going to be on Michael Anderson's set, which you know well that we are considered like the husband and wife of the Creole music. And it's time. And thanks, Dominica, thanks the Creole Festival, thanks Mava from DDDA for giving us that chance to come back and to 25 to represent. It's a pleasure, it's an honor.
We want to just talk about that song you did with WCK, which came out last week. You know, your thoughts on the song. What was the concept behind that song?
The concept is redefining bouillon music. We're not going to go into politics of it, who does that type of bouillon, that type of bouillon. This is the original bouillon, and as the song says, they went back to the kitchen to whip up that special brew, and with me especially to bring it to the world in a clean way. So there's a demand for this. You told me something about somebody that I would love one day to work with is Ra. I think that it's time for us to do something together. I'm saying that openly. I think it's overdue. It's the first time I'm saying it openly on DBS radio.
Vocalist Elisha Binwa speaking to Gavin Richards. The son of the late Prime Minister Rosie Douglas, Tiani Bianzin, says Rosie's legacy as a visionary leader still lives on. He was speaking on a special edition of the LACO program on DBS radio last evening. He reflected on his father's life and the lasting impact he made on Dominica and the wider world.
That's what Rosie was. Rosie stop, go in your house, go in the kitchen, go in the pot, uncover the pot, take his share, sit down there and while he's talking to you, That's what Rosie was. He was like an extension of the people. And I haven't met anybody like Rosie. And I've seen Rosie operate in Europe. I've seen Rosie operate in Poitiers, a place like England. And I see Rosie penetrate, my friend, community groups in Ireland, community groups, religious groups all over Europe. And the man is completely at home. That's the thing. I mean, it was just something else. It's like he's in Portsmouth. He's all in County Armagh or something like that. And he's as if he's sitting down in Portsmouth. He had this magnetizing connection with people wherever he was. And he was not an elitist person. If you are down, he'll come down to your level and speak to you. He can speak to the kings and the queens, the most powerful of people, at the same time, speak to the smallest and the most vulnerable.
Son of the late Prime Minister Rosie Douglas, Tiani Bihansin. That's the national focus, regional and international developments up next.
Yo, what's up? Baby, let's go!
Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digital TV Channel 50 and Flow TV Channel 951.
DBS News.
In news from the region, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro requested special support from Pope Leo to consolidate peace in the country as the U.S. continues to ramp up pressure on the regime through a military deployment in the Caribbean and strikes on vessels. Venezuela's Foreign Minister Jovan Gil confirmed the country's ambassador to the Vatican delivered a letter with that purpose to its Secretary of State. Gil did not provide additional details about the request. Maduro is seeking the support of the Pope as the U.S. continues to ramp up pressure on Venezuela. And internationally, a U.S. federal judge has blocked President Donald Trump's administration from deploying National Guard troops from Texas and California to Portland. The decision late Sunday comes after the same court denied Trump's attempt to deploy Oregon-owned National Guard members to Portland. Portland is the largest Democratic-led city targeted as part of the president's attempt to address what he says is out-of-control crime amid protests over his administration's immigration enforcement. Trump has also authorized the deployment of National Guard troops from other states to Chicago. That's news, the DBS Evening Sports Report. Up next with Gavin Richards.
Covering the nation and beyond. DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Well, good evening. I'm Gavin Richards with the DBS Evening Sports Report. Let's kick off with football news as the defending secondary schools under 15 football champions, the Castlebrook Secondary School, opened their title defense with a comfortable win over the Dominica Grammar School as the Sports Division Secondary Schools under 15 tournament got underway this afternoon, where the Castlebrook Secondary School took the match 4-2 at the DFA Technical Center. Roxanne Coppell got a brace for the CBSS, and Gianni Murillo and Michael Lawrence also scored for the Castlebrook Secondary School, who jumped out to the early 4-0 lead, while Aiden Joseph and Sholan Seaman, they pulled 2 goals back for the Dominica Grammar School. It was CBSS winning the game 4-2. Castlebrook Secondary School head coach Stanton Seraphin says it was a strong start to their title defense.
Yeah, I think it was the first good game for us. I think we started well, scoring 4 goals in the first half, Second half, Grammar School came back well, scored 2, but I think overall, very impressive guys. I mean, that's just their first match, So I think we have started the competition very well. Just want to continue working with the guys and hoping for these kind of results as the competition continues.
All right, I know it's a 4-2 victory, but any areas for concern for you as you look to progress in the season?
Well, I think the midfield, that was a bit of a concern for me, particularly in the second half. I think we didn't manage the game properly, we didn't control, the game properly. So that will be an area where we do a bit more work, and also on both wings. I think the wingers should be a bit more confident, willing to take on the defenders in a 1v1 situation. So these are some of the areas which I think we'll work on going forward.
And Roxanne Cooper looked quite impressive this afternoon. Quick word on him, looks like an up-and-coming star.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely one for the future. He had a very good season last year. He was 15 and also in the under-15 competition. So he now being, in the under-15 with us, we think, he'll have another good season. You can see he's a very strong, physical young man, very technical as well, So just want to continue working with him, and hopefully, he can continue improving and be one of the very good ones for us.
And that's the Castlebrook Secondary School head coach Stanton Seraphin. Meantime, in the under-20 division this afternoon, the Castlebrook Secondary School, they also got the better of the Dominica Grammar School. Alson Gasper celebrated his call-up to the trials for the senior men's national football team with a hat-trick as the Castlebrook Secondary School won that game 6-0. Taron George also scored, with Caleb Dangleben and Kenneth Valmont getting a goal each for the Castlebrook Secondary School. Let's bring you some track and field news as Pioneers Athletics Club long-distance runner Kervin Latham made it 2 in a row as he won the second road race organized by the Dominica Athletics Association yesterday in Granby. Latham took first place, just edging out Sean Vidal of the Aspirers Athletics Club by just 4 seconds in the men's 5-kilometer race. Latham completed the run in a time of 17 minutes, 31 seconds. Sean Vidal was second, and Radiant Felix of the Pioneers Athletics Club was third in a time of 17 minutes and 46 seconds. Meantime, former Olympic athlete Luan Gabriel of the Aspirers Athletics Club made it 2 in a row as well as she won the women's 5-kilometer race. She did so in a time fast enough to win the President's Challenge. She clocked an impressive time of 21 minutes and 55 seconds. Akisha Luke of the Pioneers Athletics Club was second in a time of 25 minutes and 59 seconds, and Kimberly Aaron of the Striders was in third place. Over 100 runners took part in the various categories. We had Charles Joseph winning the men's master 5-kilometer race. Leona Roberts won the women's master 5-kilometer race, and Jaden Joseph of the Aspirers Club, he won the under-17 boys 3-kilometer race, and Nayola Aline of the Striders Athletics Club won the under-17 girls 3-kilometer race. Well, let's bring you some cricket news now. The West Indies captain Ruston Chase says the financial challenges impacting cricket in the Caribbean is showing on the field. He said that the players are at a disadvantage with inadequate facilities. His comments after the West Indies lost the first test to India by an innings and 140 runs. Chase said more needs to be put into West Indies cricket.
Yeah, well, I don't really want to touch too much on that, but what I would say, yes, there is obviously a struggle in the Caribbean for finances. So if whatever help we can get, if they're planning to get the help, I hope that we do get it so that we could, strengthen the infrastructure for the cricket. I think the systems in the Caribbean are a bit poor in terms of training facilities and stuff, but I'm not using that as an excuse or something to hide behind for the poor performances that we've been putting out lately. I still think the onus is on the players to find some way to churn out runs and wickets and stuff. So I don't really want to get too much into that. Yeah, that is some of the infrastructural problems that we do have. The pitches in the Caribbean are not really batsman friendly, so guys don't really bat for long periods and score those big scores. So, and then too with the outfields in the Caribbean are really slow. So when you hit the ball in the gaps and you think you have four, probably end up struggling to get two. So those are just some of the problems that we are faced with in the Caribbean. So yeah, that's what you see guys averaging so low. If you look at the past series we had against Australia, I think that was the first time I've ever played an international series and a batsman never scored 100 in 3 matches. So yeah.
That's the West Indies captain, Ruston Chase. Meantime, former West Indies player, now cricket commentator Ian Bishop, wants the West Indies batsmen to stop being satisfied with scores of 20 and 30. He also says that Shea Hope and Ruston Chase need to step up.
Shea Hope and Ruston Chase, to me, are the two guys that I expect more of, given that they've been around international cricket or test cricket since 2015, 2016. There is a gulf in class. There's no doubt about it. I don't think many people expected West Indies to come here and easily win a test match, but you want to see more of an in-your-face battle. They've tried different combinations. I want guys to stop being satisfied with 20s and 30s. The gold standard of test cricket is for high volume scores, hundreds, whether the guys have that within them against top class opposition. We need to start seeing that, because when the two Josephs are fit and they join Jaden Seals and maybe one of the or two of the other spinners, the bowling attack can compete with a lot of teams on the world stage. Time for the batters to hold their hand up, because this is as experienced as it comes. There are a number of talented young guys, a few of them back in the Caribbean, but they still need time because they're very green. So these are the guys that have to show the way.
Former West Indies player, now cricket commentator Ian Bishop. In some domino news this evening, while only 4 teams are still unbeaten as the Julius Timothy Independence Domino League continued last weekend, League coordinator Delvin Esprit says it was another exciting weekend of dominoes.
4 teams, Brutal Forces from Grand Bay, Brigade Stars from Paybush, BS Stars from Anzime, and Bad Side from Mao are the only unbeaten teams so far in the Julius Timothy Island-wide Domino League after round 2 and 3 last weekend. On Saturday, Brutal Forces won over Roadside. Brigade Stars defeated Warriors. Final scores, Brigade Stars 3,027, Warriors 2,800. BS Stars 3,025, Roadblock 2,293. Bad Side 3,014, White City 2,526. Babdad 3,016, Non-Players 2,708. And Itasi won over Focus. And Wake Up Stars 3,008, Full Effects 2,775. And on Sunday, some tough and exciting matches were played in Portsmouth. Brutal Forces defeated Wake Up Stars by 51 points. Final scores, Brutal Forces 3,014, Wake Up Stars 2,963. And in Marigot, what a match, as Warriors edged out Babdad by 44 points. Final scores, Warriors 3,042, Babdad 2,998. In other matches, Bad Side 3,026, West Coast Credit Union, Jerry Adrian Valiance, 2,564. Roadblocks, 3,002. Itasi, 2,196. Brigade Stars, 3,016. Non-players, 1,672. White City, 3,022. Marcy Square, 2,816. And NATO Full Effects, 3,021. Roadside, 2,362. Delvin Esprit reported.
And we say thanks to Delvin Esprit for that report. Let's go back to football news, because the Promex Harlem United winger Brandel Richards and Sagicor Southeast striker Darren James have been rewarded for their strong play in the last DFA Premier League season, as they've been called up for training for the men's senior national football team as Dominica prepares for the CONCACAF series in November. Darren James was the second leading scorer in the last Premier League. Richards was one of the more exciting wingers in the last campaign. They are part of an over 30-man training squad called up by the technical staff of the men's national football team. Well, the squad includes 9 players from the 3-time champion Central Cooperative Credit Union Juba FC, and the team reads Jerome Burkhardt, Jaime Kafi, Brian Thomas, Marcus Breeders, Giovanni Xavier, Corbin Paul, Travis Joseph, Savio Ansem, and Odell Laville. From Valvoline Way United, Dale Dangleben, Jarek Parker, Philson Lockhart, Alson Gasper, Leon Edwards, and Turi Christmas. From the Roosevelt Scarlet Bombers, Jalen Johnville, Orion Hyacinth, Rion Coffey, Davon George, and Antoine Larocque. And representing the Belfast Estate Mao Sucker Strikers, Dante Challenger, Clemson Isaac, Nick Anthony, Jan Timothy, and Jan Boston. From Petro Caribbean Point Michelle, Kyle Del Sol, and Ethan Doctorov. And from Promex Harlem United, Dante Newton and Brandel Richards. Also from Connect 767 Quartz Ready Cash East Central, Nathan Newton. And representing Sagico Southeast, Darren James, Kimani Rodney, and Javid George. From Bafa State FC, Eustace Marshall. And from St. Joseph FC, Philip Matthew and Rashid Wallace. Well, the squad will be boosted by a number of players who are currently overseas. The CONCACAF series will take place in St. Kitts in November. Dominica has been grouped with French St. Martin, Dutch St. Martin, Belize, and St. Kitts. Well, the national team will hold its first training session tonight at the DFA Technical Centre. In some more football news, well, the former DFA Premier League side, Bafa State FC, are just 2 wins away from a return to the Premier League after they hammered Marigot FC to book a spot in the quarterfinals of the DFA Division 1 League on the weekend, where Bafa State, they cruised to the 7-1 win over, of course, that was a 7-1 win over Marigot to advance to the quarterfinals. In some other results from the round of 16, we had Kalibishi FC and the Do-It Center Mighty Avengers also advancing to the quarterfinals. Kalibishi FC defeated ACS Tarish United, while the Do-It Center Mighty Avengers got the better of Warner 1-0. Also punching a ticket to the quarterfinals, Northside FC and South City. Northside, they defeated Derby Boys 2-1 at the Benjamin's Park last night. Southside got the better of Exodus 2-1 at the DFA Technical Centre last night. We had Noah Joseph getting both goals for South City, and also the teams advancing to the quarterfinals. 7 teams have advanced so far. RC Doctors, we have Bafa State FC, Kalibishi FC, Northside FC, the Do It Center Mighty Avengers, Fonkole FC, and South City FC. There's one more game in the round of 16 to be played. That's between St. Joseph FC and the Wayne George Academy. That game is scheduled for tomorrow at the DFA Technical Center. We can bring you one more item as the EC Lucati Bombers, well, they're into the finals of the Kalinago Premier League as they picked up a comfortable, they picked up a win, I should say, over the defending champions, the PR Thunder Kings, in the first qualifier at the Jolly Johns Park yesterday. Thunder Kings batted first and they got to only 126. We had Gian Benjamin getting 48. Mario Lucian, he picked up 2 for 19, and Wayne Ogis 2 for 21 for the Bombers. The Bombers replied with 127 for 3, winning off the final over of the game. And they won that game by 3 wickets in the end, with the West Indies under-19 player, Arsenio Fontaine, getting 49. Erwin Burton took 1 for 19, and Michael Joseph 1 for 18 for the Thunder Kings. So the Thunder Kings, well, they'll have a second shot to qualify for the finals as they will play the BA Grinders in the second qualifier, while we have the Bombers into the finals, awaiting the winner of that match. Well, that's a look at the DBS Evening Sports for tonight. More sporting highlights for you tomorrow morning during the DBS Major Morning News. You heard the news with Leila Langford. On behalf of the entire news and sports departments, our links person, DJ Halo Boy, Gavin Richards saying good evening.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
welcome to the evening edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 6th day of October 2025. We begin with this evening's edition of the DBS Radio Deaf announcements on the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board.